Seven financial truths in an uncertain 2019. Hi, my name is Mark O'Byrne, the Research Director of GoldCore.com, your precious metals storage specialist. And in today's market update, we're going to look at what we believe to be sort of important truths. It's always dangerous to use the word truth. It's quite an absolute term, and frequently there are no absolute truths. But we think there are important sort of principles that we can all take on board in 2019 that will help us navigate the very stormy seas that we see out there today in terms of the risks that manifest from Brexit and Trump and the various macroeconomic, systemic, geopolitical, and indeed monetary risks that we see in the world today. So, these are sort of they're time tested truths, if you will, and I think if people pay heed to them and apply them, I think it will serve them very well indeed in 2019 and indeed in the coming years. So the first one is, so there's seven of them. We're going to start from number 7 and work our way up to number 1. So number 7 is about not having all your eggs in the one basket. So it's diversify, diversify, diversify. And it's something that a lot of even financial advisors and brokers and the media, they sort of pay lip service to diversification. And it's something that's everyone talks about, but there's a lot of talk, but very few people seem to be walking the walk in that regard. And a lot of diversification seems to be simply owning equities and bonds, and that's considered a diversified portfolio. And obviously, just having 2 of these financial assets, stocks and bonds, which are at all-time record highs, these paper assets in the current climate, it's quite a risky strategy, you know, and it has served investors reasonably well over the long term. This so-called balanced portfolio approach, but in certain times they massively underperform, and we believe we're on the verge of seeing that. We've seen that already in stock markets in 2018, and we believe bond markets are indeed very vulnerable indeed. So yeah, the old cliche, not having all your eggs in one basket, it's just so people understand that the principle is, if you have 100 eggs and you put your 100 eggs in that one basket and you go on your bike on the basket going about your business and the basket falls over, a lot of the eggs, if not all the eggs, could be damaged, or many of the eggs could be damaged, and obviously you're at a loss in terms of your eggs. Whereas if you have 2, 3, 4 different baskets and smaller amounts in each basket, and you secure them in that way, if one basket is lost, obviously you have the other baskets. So that's it in what it means in as I say, in a nutshell, in an eggshell. Number 6, avoid leverage and speculation and focus on saving and owning quality assets. So yeah, I mean, in the uncertain world today, and given the degree of volatility that we see in markets, and indeed the degree of manipulation that we see in financial markets, particularly in stocks and bonds, but also even in property markets, in terms of what the central banks and what they've done with this giant monetary experiment of pushing interest rates down to all-time record lows, which has encouraged massive both investment in property, but also speculation in property. So this has created the everything bubble, which we long spoke about on our podcast, with all these assets looking very toppy indeed, and this creates real risk to investors. So you have to be very careful, very judicious when you're investing, and try and own quality assets. So assets that are undervalued, that have a good yield, that has a yield that is fairly secure, if not guaranteed. And I think that is going to be very important indeed in 2019 and indeed the coming years. And in terms of speculation, I mean, most people have, I suppose, an appetite to take some form of risk, and people take crazy risks in terms of buying lottery tickets and all sorts of crazy things that they have little or no chance of winning. And we've heard lots of stories over the years from people who've lost a lot of money speculating on, as an example, gold mining shares or junior gold mining shares, or the latest stock du jour, whether it's a FANG stock. Netflix is going to go to $300, $400, $500. You know, investors have no business speculating on individual shares or individual commodities. It's extremely high risk. risk, particularly when you bring leverage into the equation as well. So some people think that they can do this by spread betting or CFDs, and we know how that ends. There's only a tiny, tiny minority of professional speculators, hedge fund managers, these people who do this professionally and who make money at it, but the vast majority lose money because it's a very, very difficult thing to do, both in terms of managing your emotions, in terms of greed and fear, but also in terms of managing positions and stop losses and all the rest. It's quite a technical and very sophisticated process. So we would encourage people, own quality assets, and gold and silver actually the most quality assets. They're true safe haven assets, and very, very low risk for all investors, both your sophisticated investor, your novice investor, your high net worth, to your person with a more meager means at their disposal. But they are important that everybody owns them, from the wealthiest of people to people who do not have a huge amount of savings and investments, because they are a form of insurance. Number 5, and this is an important one, don't make money the guiding principle in your life. And by money, we mean obviously gold is an example, but just euros, dollars, pounds, any form of money. Money is just a form of energy. And it's important that we don't focus all our energies and all our creative focus in our lives on this one thing. Obviously, it's a very important thing, and it's important you do give it some degree of focus in your lives. But it shouldn't be the guiding principle, and it shouldn't consume us to any degree. And, obviously there's a lot of greed in the world, and the pursuit of huge amount of riches, whether it be dollars, euros, pounds, or property riches or gold riches. It creates the problems we have in this world in terms of the environmental risks and all the rest. We're as a society, and particularly the large corporations and the wealthier people in our society, are living way beyond their means. But arguably, we're all living beyond our means, arguably in the first world, and over consuming a lot of resource. So it's important to be aware of that, and not have negative emotions regarding euros, dollars, pounds. And indeed golds. They're all important, valuable things, and it's important to focus on the value and the benefit that they provide to us in terms of looking after our loved ones and our family and friends. Number 4, own gold and silver in the safest ways possible, and focus on the value of this rather than on the price in dollars, euros, pounds. So the media focus continuously on gold is the price, and has the price gone up or has the price gone down? Or gold has gone down over the last 3 or 4 years, it's a very bad investment. Or gold is up today, it's at a 7-month peak, and it's continuously focusing on the price. Is it up, down? Is it going to go up, down? And it loses sight of the most important thing about gold, and the reason to own gold, which is that it is both a hedge and a safe haven asset. It's a form of financial insurance in a uncertain world, and this has been seen throughout history and again in recent years. So focus on the value that gold provides people, and it also provides a huge psychological value, because it allows investors to, I suppose, be a bit more relaxed about the rest of their portfolio, and to take risk with other elements of their portfolio when they have that bedrock foundational asset, which is physical gold bullion. And it also it calms people down, and many people are fretting about the many risks in the world today. When they have that allocation to gold, whether it be 5, 10, 20% of a portfolio, it means that they sleep better at night. And we've had dozens of clients tell us that over the years, that they just feel very, very comfortable and calm, and they sleep better, knowing that there are real risks there, but knowing that in these worst case scenarios they are financially protected. And this is what we've specialized in since 2003. Our mission statement was to protect and grow our clients' wealth through the provision of gold in the safest way possible, and we fundamentally believe in it. And it's funny, just recently, someone on LinkedIn, we put up a lot of our content on LinkedIn, and it gets quite a lot of traction and interaction and comments and all the rest of it. And a gentleman, quite a senior lawyer in Germany, made a comment saying, "Oh, should we listen to this gentleman, or should we believe in this gentleman who's trying to sell his products?" And I mean, hands up, anybody in business is trying to sell a product or service, absolutely. But we fundamentally believe And we know from both the data, the academic research, the research from independent asset allocation experts, and indeed history and the recent financial crisis, that gold does protect people in uncertain times and during crisis. So it's not about selling product per se, it's about actually the value again that gold provides people. So number 3 is, yeah, I think do what you can to avoid excessive debt. I mean, the problem with the world today is that we are on the verge of another global debt crisis, because debt is just saturated every aspect of society today. Every strata of society is riddled with debt. And this creates real risk to individuals, to families, to companies, and indeed to nation states and sovereigns. So, yeah, the debt is, the good book says, and I'm not a hugely Catholic person, but I do see the value of a lot of the teachings of all these great religions, including Catholicism. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. And I wouldn't go that far. I think there's times when you can take on debt and times when you can lend, but you just have to be judicious about it and careful about it. And I think in these times, keeping debt to a minimum is probably prudent. There's nothing wrong with obviously borrowing to buy property that you believe is good value and is going to have a yield. We've record low interest rates, so a case can be made, but you just have to be very careful about saddling yourself with a huge amount of debt at the bottom of the interest rate market. And also, people can use credit cards for short-term purchases, and sometimes it can be a value in that. But I think people should always try and clear off those credit card balances on a monthly basis, and don't allow that stuff to build up, because it can be very risky indeed. And it's just much better to try and save to buy the car than is to finance it and take on the extra debt that entails. It's a more prudent way of doing things, but it's not. It depends on individual circumstances, and obviously, that can dictate ultimately how you view debt. So it's not a hard and fast rule per se. Number 2, enjoy the simple things in life, and when we talk about finance and money and gold, and we're always talking about these risks in the world, and there are real risks in the world, but at the same time, there's a lot of beauty in the world, and we just need to calm down and tune out the noise of these very real risks, and just enjoy the company of our family and friends, and the simple things in life, and our health for one, and the health of the people we love, and health is true wealth, as we know, and that cliche, health is wealth, is so true, and we've seen that time and time again over the years, and how gold indeed actually has been a vehicle to help people protect their families' health, because during the financial crisis, a lot of our clients actually sold some of their gold because they used it then to look after their families, in terms of families who had health issues, families who had education needs, families who had accommodation needs and needed housing or apartments, and so that's gold can be used for good or for ill in that regard, and it's like anything, it's gold itself per se is neither good nor bad, it's neither good nor evil. We actually had a blog. Actually, I brought it up here to remind myself of it. A blog that we covered there recently from Dr. Wayne Dyer, and I'm just going to share my screen with you here. I thought it was very, very good indeed. Just a quotation from Wayne Dyer, which is, so money is neither good nor devil or evil, whatever you want to call it. It's a form of energy. Like love or fear, it can serve you or bind you, depending on how you manage it. By clarifying your goals and using your gifts, you can make good money doing what you enjoy while serving the highest calling of your soul. Using money wisely and well, you share your material and spiritual wealth with the world. And I felt that was such a powerful quote. One of the most powerful quotes I've seen about money, and it was an excellent blog piece, and well worth a read. So that's number 2. Enjoy the simple things in life. Health, the health of our families and friends, good food, time in nature, travel, and just it's taking time to smell the roses and tuning out these risks. We can't completely tune them out, and sometimes I think people aren't joining the dots about these very real risks that are out there today. I think there is a degree of denial, and there is a degree of people putting their head in the sands. because there's so much fear in our society, and but sometimes I think we're more afraid of certain things that we're very afraid of that we should be less afraid of, and then there's other things that financial risks that I think we should be more concerned about, more proactive about, that we seem to be ignoring, and we tend to look at all these risks, and we hate to have to focus on these risks, but the given nature of what we do, gold is a hedge against these risks, so obviously we're going to have to look at these risks, and that's what we do in our blog. And even last week we looked at the Davos was on, and there was some very interesting conversations being had there, including David Attenborough talking about the world and the environment on this planet being damaged beyond repair, and we thought it was very, very important, and very few people actually joining the dots between the environment and environmental risks to this small little finite planet of ours, and the wider economy and financial markets, so there are real risks there, but it's important that we don't allow this fear to overcome us, because then we become irrational, and then we don't actually take the steps that we need to take in order to protect ourselves and our family and loved ones. So that brings us to number one, which is the most important one, which is don't worry, be happy. A great song. I can't remember the guy who sang it, but it actually goes back to a yogi, a guru from India, who said it. He was around, I think, in the 60s and 70s, and then some US artist turned it into a cappella version of it some years ago. It's a great song, and it's funny. Just as I walked in here today, outside in the main reception area, I came across this little book here, 14,000 Things to Be Happy About, and it's just simple things like a baby's smile, smelling the roses. What did I talk about? Babies burping, rabbit tracks in the snow, kiteboarding. All the stuff that we do in our daily lives, and that's where real value is. And by having gold, it gives us that freedom and benefit to actually to relax, to not worry about the big financial risks in the world, and then just to enjoy our daily lives. So. On that positive note, we're frequently accused of being the bearers of bad news. Unfortunately, we do have to be given the nature of what we do, but we do believe in looking at these things in a balanced manner, and it's important to focus on the value of gold and how it allows people to be more relaxed about the risks in the world, and does allow them to step back and smell the roses. So don't worry, be happy, and thanks for your time, and you can catch up with us on all the usual channels, and sign up for the updates on GoldCore.com, and subscribe on YouTube. And thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.